Welcome to r/entitled people, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you friends for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have 2 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story is, EMs yell at me for doing my job. I, NB18, work at my nearby theme park's haunted houses for the Halloween season. I'm usually what we call ops, or basically the line security, making sure guests know where to go, not to cut the lines, etc. I've done this for 2 years and surprisingly never had an encounter with a Karen. Until tonight. Now for some context, we have this super long and somewhat windy line that's guarded by low metal fences for our guests to go through when we open until around the last 15 minutes of the night. It definitely is a bit of a walk, and some teens and younger adults decide to try to hop over the fences to get into line without going through the long line. That's a huge no-no. No one's allowed to hop the fences. In the very case they cut someone in line, hurt themselves, whatever. And for some additional context, I'm a very anxious person, especially when negative yelling is involved. It doesn't have to be direct yelling at me. Any form of negative yelling in my range of hearing is enough to get me worked up. So you can imagine if it's at me. This will be important later. Now on to the story. It's about an hour before the night closes, about 10 o'clock. The line is starting to thin out a bit, but there's still people wanting to get into the haunt before we close. I'm stationed at the very start of the entrance to the haunt, looking for any potential fence hoppers and helping guests with directions. As I am, I turn to the left and see a huge group of girls at one section of the fence about a couple feet away. From what I could remember, there were 3 or 4 girls, one seemingly being around 10 or 11, while the rest were 14. Are already in the line, and 3 girls, also 14, are, you guessed it, hopping the fence. As the final girl gets over, I sprint over just as they began walking and stop them. Here's the names so far. G1, Girl 1, G2, Girl 2, NG, Nice Girl, LG, Little Girl, the 10 or 11-year-old girl. These girls were either not involved at all or just silent and didn't want to escalate things. EG1 entitled Girl 1, EG2 entitled Girl 2, EG3 entitled Girl 3. Keep in mind that this is all paraphrased from what I remember. Me. Hey, stop. Don't jump over the fence. The girls turn around in shock. G1. Huh? What's wrong? Me. Sorry, but you can't be jumping over the fence. EG1. What? We were just meeting up with our group. Me. Still, you aren't supposed to hop the fence. You could have just got in line regularly and you'll be cutting people that are getting in line. Now, a small error on my part. I thought there was people entering the line right as I dashed off. But the line was empty, and I may have either been seeing things or they were just far away, I don't know. EG1. But there isn't even anyone behind us. We aren't cutting anyone. Me. Even so, you're not allowed to jump the fence. It's against the rules. G2. Sorry about that. But yeah, they were just trying to meet up with us so they can not go through that long line. EG1. Exactly. Now just let us go. By this more point, guests were starting to get closer and may begin watching what was happening if I don't get the 3 girls moved. Me. No? Look, the 3 of you who just jumped have to go to the back of the line. EG2. What? That's not fair. We didn't even cut the line. Me. There are still people on their way. By this point, people began moving and I kept an eye on these girls as I waited for someone to come and help me. And no, I didn't have a walkie-talkie on me because we were on a shortage since some of them were broken. Luckily, one security person, SG1, was on his way and I waved him down. Me in a somewhat hushed voice. Hey, can you help me here quickly? SG1. Hey, what's going on? Me. There's this group of girls where some of their group hopped the fence. I point out the group. He nods as we walked over to them again. SG1. Excuse me, girls. OP has told me some of you hopped the fence. G3. Well... EG2. We did not. SG1. Well, this person clearly saw some of you do that, and I'm sure they've told you that isn't allowed. EG1. We were just meeting up with the rest of our group. I want to add that there was a lot of back and forth with multiple of us speaking at once, but I'm just going to be adding the stuff I either remember or is most important to the story. EG3. And we didn't even cut anyone. There wasn't anyone behind us. SG1 turns to me. Well, did you? Me. There was people on their way, but they were really far. SG1 thinks for a second and speaks up again. Well, even if you didn't cut anyone behind you, it's still not allowed to jump over the fence. OP. Do you remember who the girls were? I nod and point at the 3 EGs. SG1 nods and turns to them. Okay, you 3 come with me. We won't have you exit the line, just sending you to the back. EGs. What? SG1. Sorry, but it's the policy. LG. Shouldn't we go along with them, since they're with us and we're a big group together? SG1. No, just those three, as they were the ones OP saw breaking the rules. You all can say we are. EG1. This isn't fair. We didn't even cut anyone. EG3. Yeah, and now other guests are passing us. EG2. How's this any fair? G3. Guys, it's fine, we told them they can pass us. At this point, some back and forth stuff happens, and as this does, the security guard's manager, SGM, approaches us. SG informs him on the situation, then gets my input, and SGM then begins talking to the girls, but to no avail. It's all just a broken record at this point. We try to tell them they jumped the fence. They claim they weren't cutting, and just wanted to meet up with their group, which I do believe. Us telling them that doesn't excuse them jumping the line because it's against the rules, etc. The SGM then says, "Alright girls, listen. Either the three of you that broke the rules go to the back of the line, or all of you will. Otherwise, we'll need to ask you to leave." The girls talk amongst themselves. Evidently, the four nice girls decided they'll just go to the back with the EGs, much to the EGs' reluctant distaste but acceptance. I sigh internally in relief, thinking this is going to be all resolved somewhat peacefully, as we help the girls get to the back while asking other guests to make way. But this wouldn't be an entitled parents post without an entitled parent, right? Because they were apparently in line too. Yep, you read that right. They. Not one, not two, but three. Oh joy. As we led the girls up, one of the EMs stops all of us. EM1. Hey, what do you think you're doing? LG. We gotta go to the back of the line. EM1. What? Why? SGM. Ma'am, could you and the rest of your party please move out of the way? EM2. No, not until you tell us why you're forcing our girls out of line. SG. Well, OP caught some of them hopping over the fence, which is against the rules. We're just sending them to the back of the line. I nod and answer. Yeah, ma'am. They could have been cutting someone else getting in line. EM3. What? That's ridiculous. They'd never do such a thing. SGM. Well, what we've been told by both parties said otherwise. While it doesn't seem like these kids were trying to cut anyone, still against the rules to jump the fence. EM3. Well, if that's the case, they can stay with us. They were far ahead of us anyway, so that should be far enough of a distance. Side note, no they weren't. They were at least 10 to 15 people away. SGM. No, they can't. All three EMs. What? SGM. Look, they broke the rules, and the punishment is sending them to the back. Plain and simple. EM1. No, you can't do that. They're only 14 years old. Do you really expect them to be all by themselves? EM2. Yeah, and we're their guardians. We know what's best for them. Besides, this could be compensation for them, being me, lying about our children cutting the lines. I roll my eyes. SG. Ma'am, the girls admitted themselves that those three jumped the fencing. Please just let them go to the back. We're already holding the line up as it is with you standing here. Guests have been trying to walk around them as this SH show is all going on. EM3. Do you really think you'll separate our kids from us? You're all delusional. This went on for a good few minutes, and as it does, I'm growing more and more tense and anxious because of how loud the EMs have been shouting at us. NG seemingly noticed because she gives me an embarrassed look and says with a small sympathetic smile, "I'm so sorry about all this." I smile back and say, "No worries, thank you." Apparently, the argument between security and the EMs got pretty heated because I hear one of them pull their walkie out and ask for more security to come down. Especially since SG, one of them, was about to head on break. With that being said, not even a minute later, two more security guards, SG2 and SG3, step in. We inform them on the situation, and the group tried to move along, but me and the first two guards stopped them. SG2. Look, it seems like you guys are refusing to let your kids go to the back for facing the consequences of the rules. And if you try to escalate things further, we're gonna ask you to leave. EMs 1 and 2 grew even more upset as they told off the guards and me, saying more of the same. They didn't do anything. They're only 14-year-old kids, and you can't do this. All the while, we're all moving along the line as it slowly moves, and EM3 is clapping sarcastically and trying to dismiss us with something along the lines of, thank you. Yes, you're doing your job so well. Have a good night." The security eyed her at that, which made her shut up with the sarcasm. EM1. Look, just let us go into the D-haunted house. We're already so close now anyway, and we don't want any more of this over a lie. I was fuming at this and spoke up. No, I saw them with my 2 eyes, and your girls have already admitted it. Please just let your girls go. EM1 turns to me and shouts, "No, they're 14. You won't get away with this." I get spooked and feel my nerves shoot up. The guards step in and angrily scold her and told her to leave me alone. And honestly, after this, the rest of the confrontation was a blur. I was really messed up after getting yelled at like that. Eventually, things cooled down and security said I can head back to my post and they'll handle the rest. But as I was trying to do so, I just couldn't hold back the tears. I cried during anxiety attacks. Thank God that one of my managers, MK, was walking up to check on me a few minutes later. She asked me if I was okay and I couldn't respond. She frowns and says, "Here, why don't you take a break?" I nodded slightly and walked along with her. As we were, who did we see? The group of EMs and the kids. I begin to panic. I whisper to MK and say it's them. She nods and tries to shield me as we speed walk past them. But I felt myself just freeze up. I don't know why, but I couldn't help myself but to look back. The group was further away, but were looking at us. And honestly, they looked somewhat guilty, embarrassed, frustrated, or upset. I don't know. I was too anxious to tell. MK helped calm me down and get me into the employee-only area of the park. She approached my other manager, MT, and explained that I was having a hard night. Apparently, security had informed her already and was told they handled everything. They were banned. MT and MK helped me calm down as I sat on the steps and just let my anxiety flow out of me. And I appreciated that, honestly. The second story is, people that had a good job that they enjoyed and then it all went to hell. What happened? I'll start. My last job was at a trucking company in the maintenance department. They were a smallish company. They only had about 75 trucks and one base, which was in my hometown. But they were well known for getting things to places and getting them there quickly because they ran teams only. Except maybe like 5 or so trucks. And the trucks never stopped moving, basically, which is why you never saw one in a truck stop for longer than a few hours. I started off at a pretty good pay, salaried, and a good schedule. 4 on, 4 off. I had coworkers that I enjoyed working with. My boss and boss's boss were good people, and the owner was generally an alright guy even though he could be a bit abrasive at times. I've worked in hydraulic repair, fast food, retail, warehouses, and I can say that this was probably the easiest job I've ever had. Yeah, some days my back was killing me and I couldn't stand up straight after swapping out 40 to 60 tires, but those days are few and far between. I thought I had finally found where I'd worked at for a good long time. And then the owner sold out. He sold us to a bigger national company. Hint, 4 letters and starts with a K, that apparently has a reputation of buying smaller trucking companies and just destroying them. And on the day we found out, the CEO came out and spouted all this good SH about, "We like how you do things and we don't want to change a D thing. We're all about taking care of our workers because we're a family." Oh, here we go. I've had enough management positions that I could see right through his SH as soon as it started rolling out of his mouth. I warned everyone I worked with that SH was about to go bad, and that within a year at most that a lot of people would be out of a job. Not even a month later, myself and one other from the other shop shift were laid off because we were the newest. I'd only been there 4 months, and the other guy was there maybe 2, so we were ineligible for unemployment in my state, because you have to work there for 6 months at least before you can even think about applying layoffs or not. Fast forward about 7 months, and I found out that not only were we 2 laid off at the start, they kept jerking around my boss and boss's boss to the point where they quit. Out of the 10 people in the breakdown department, 9 were let go, as well as the main office staff numbers were gutted. Drivers left in droves also. Now they're so desperate for people that they're offering sign-on bonuses in the thousands depending on what position they hire you for. The shop slots remain unfilled even though there's listings for them because word travels really fast in my neck of the woods, and no one wants to work for such an SH place. So yeah, that's my I loved it and then it went to SH story. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Have a good day.